Today we sit back and explore Soul Passage, an upcoming Metroidvania platformer with RPG elements blended in between, across multiple crazy looking planets. Without further ado, it's time for us to get a better look and a better idea of what this game's all about.
This game it's a Metroidvania that blends some RPG elements within it. So we're talking about the decision to kind of go in that direction. You know, a lot of first-time developers, they kind of gravitate towards Metroidvania platformers just because it's kind of where their experience matches up. But for you, somebody who kind of has that background and within experience in the field, kind of what drew you to that specific genre?
First, we need to know what is our talent and what we can bring to the life. This is the most important thing. And I believe myself, I'm a good story writer, and Soul Passage has a good story. And I like to play RPG games and also exploring the different things and different layouts and everything, the scenes. It's really amazing because exploring is, I think, the key of the Metroidvania, as you know. And if you put the role-playing story inside in the good way, I think this is a really good match from my opinion. And when I decided to do the Metroidvania, it was okay, we will put exploring, we will put something different worlds. We have few different planets depending about which story you have. Then we let the people, they will explore also in the meantime. They can have a side quest, also they can have a main quest.
So when the RPG element, how do you integrate that into a Metroidvania, especially a platformer? How do you kind of push that level of exploration and kind of that open worldness?
It's really complex, as you know. You need to integrate not only one story, but there should be a few different story, a few different life cycles, and also everything should need to connect it itself. And this was the main question for us. But after that, we stopped to create a different characters, different timeline, and from that, I think we will have 3 different endings, and all the endings will be affected also the next game. Because Soul Passage, it's not only one game; it's sequel. It's a long game, and in the long story. And the first story is only we like to show what we are capable of on the making Metroidvania RPG and what kind of story they can expect. Because next chapter is a really big question for us. We try to make them ready because what they do here in the first game, this will affect the second game. But the second game is already on the paper. It's already done on the scenario and everything. But what they choose and what they do on the first game, they will have in the second game. Because there will be a new character, and one of the characters will be open only if you play in the first game, and if you bring your save to the second game. And if you select all the things right, I don't want to say right, in some way, you can have access to other characters and stuff. It will be goes like that.
Let's talk about the game world itself, right? So from what I could tell, there's 4 different planets. Walk me through, just in a nutshell, the experience that each of those delivers, kind of the different mechanics that each will have, things of that nature.
We plan 4 different planets in one solar system. From the start of the story, the people, they will directly explore the soul passages, which is the name of the game also. And if you pay the price with the soul, then you will have access to the other worlds. All the worlds has different unique mechanics, even the physics, the gravity, and different shapes of worlds, and also different kind of enemies, friends of us. Also, in the start of the story, we say 4 worlds, but there's not only 4 worlds. There's also side worlds. Some people will also explore in some hidden worlds. They are not really big, but they are interesting worlds. And some of them will explore the other ones. There are 11 different planets, but the main story will go in the 4 planets. And from your decision, you will see the other ones.
And when you say it will cost the soul to get into these worlds, can you break down exactly what that means and how players will be able to do that?
The name of the main character is Obligor. We don't know the real name of the character, we will never know. And Obligor means is someone who is obligated to do something. And every enemy has their own soul. And Obligor need to collect them. And when you hit some souls, then the pass will be open for you. And you can go how much you want. It's only one-time payment, and then you will have access to the worlds. But you need to also find the soul passages where they are located in the world.
So with multiple worlds and multiple different, there's different gravity, different designs, different everything between these different planets. Talk to me about the challenge in just the level design itself.
For us, the main challenge is the mechanics, because we like to give the players really good gameplay. As a Metroidvania, they want to play fast, and because of this, the mechanics on the different worlds is really hard to do it. Like every different mechanics is affect our skills, also our controls. This is also like a really technical issue on the development side, because honestly, there's a lots of bugs coming out when you change the world, when you change all the gravity and everything. And it's really hard to handle, but I think after the Kickstarter and everything, because we are also planning like more than 6 months of real-time testing, fixing all the worlds and everything. This is I think the most biggest part of our game right now.
Is it hard because each of them has their own like unique, I guess, environment, and if you tweak one thing in one world, then it's going to react completely different in the other one? Or are you like breaking them up in coding so they kind of have their own little island and it's not going to affect the other ones?
All of them is writing in a different way, and all of them are unique. We didn't copy anything and use in the second world. Only some simple mechanics are, but on the other hand, when you transfer to the other world, other scene, everything is different, everything from the start.
There's a lot of puzzles in this game from what I could tell, so talk to me about how those puzzles are going to work, how they affect the environment, kind of how you play as a player with them. Talk to me about kind of how those intertwine and how they react to the player.
We have like world puzzles, and as I said, like for the gravity and different kind of gameplays, we'll push the player to solve these crazy puzzles, because the puzzles are not only like putting some stones together, but there's also like a playing challenge, which they need to pass some passages and some paths, and then they can reach the point, and all of them is really strict. If they do something wrong, they need to go back and they need to do it again and again. It's the puzzles are mostly like a path side of puzzles. Also, some of them is like if you want to pass something on the world, if you want to open like some items, then you need to solve one puzzle, which is totally connected with all the world. Also, there's like two puzzles right now we are planning. This is not only one world, it's affected by all the worlds.
Okay.
And this is a really huge one. And you need to solve like 4 connected puzzles. At the end, you will have like one spatial planet. At the end, it will be open from this path.
Are there going to be moments where the decisions you make impact the world around you, where it's going to change in different ways, whether that's, environment, weather, things of that nature, or just like actual levels will change because of your decisions? How will that work in the game?
If you do something in some different way, you can break something in the other worlds, because everything connected between, and you can select, maybe you will help someone or you will let them do what they like, and at the end you will be obligated from this selection, and then the people will affect like on the other worlds. Maybe those small things can break one of the worlds, even like you will not, maybe you will say, okay, I don't need to do this, or maybe it's only some small task, and the effect will be really huge.
So with that in mind, talk to me about the storyline itself within the game. You'd mentioned there's kind of multiple of them. There's the ability to have multiple endings. So kind of break that down for me. And I know you said, you're not quite all the way done with it, but kind of what you have so far and what you're planning.
There's like one different realm and universe, and the souls and people are connected. It's the same like ours, but there is also like entities, which is they are collecting the souls and become powerful. Obligor is normally he is like one farmer guy, but because of his father's decision, he need to pay his father's debt to the one of the entity, and because of this, he become warrior to save his family from the one soul collector. And from this storyline, you can go anyway, because you can save your father. Maybe you will let them like die or forget them, but there is lots of characters, which is you will see on the game when you start to play, and all the character will take you to somehow be a good guy, or you can be a bad guy, or you can be like a normal person at the end who try to help, but sometimes everything is stuck and you cannot do anything.
You'd mentioned side quests earlier, so are those NPCs kind of there just to push off side quests? Are they part of the story? How does that work?
There's like some of them is outside of the story. They have their own unique story, and some of them they are connected with directly in the main story. Also, there's like some NPCs which they can fight. They can come with you. They can help you if you want, or you can help them to do some of the tasks. And you can earn some special skills with them. You can learn from them. all the NPCs has their own unique story, and some of them is also connected together.
There's a lot of pieces that are interconnected with your guys' story. Talk to me about the challenge and kind of approaching that from a development standpoint, or just from a writing standpoint, where you make one decision and then it affects something else down the story, or where you do one thing and then all of a sudden your whole storyline pivots to a different way.
The most biggest challenge for these storylines, all of them, it's combination, because we cannot know like how the player will select the things. They can select A, they can select B, they can select C. In the second round they can select something different, and somehow all of them is connected. And this was the biggest challenge, because when we start to write the scenarios, in some point if players select like a 10 times A, then we have like a end point and storyline stuck. This was the biggest challenge. We have like a few different storylines and all of them connected somehow, because at the end this is like a Metroidvania. They can go back in the one time in the game, they can meet one guy they didn't met before, and they can do the quest. This was the main challenge for us to bring this combination together.
So the one last thing, outside of game or world and story is gameplay, and especially in a Metroidvania with RPG elements, there's a lot of different things and different ways you can go with this. So talk to me about the different weapons and abilities you're going to have in this game. And then I think the biggest question is, RPGs usually have some kind of skills tree. Would this game lean into that, or are you kind of more focused on level progression on its own outside of a skills tree?
We have a skill tree, which is the skills also have their own levels, which you can upgrade also the every skills inside. You can imagine like a normal tree of everything, and you come one point and you can go and focus to that skill, and you can make it like a really expert. And all of them somehow connected, but at the end you need to select one of the paths and go to the final, and this is your final selection.
So with the weapons in this game, talk to me about how many are going to be at your disposal, how you're going to be able to unlock them, things of that nature.
Some of them are unique. You can only find them, or you should earn them somehow. The others are you can build them, but you need to do some quests and you need to find the materials for it. After that you can build them.
Some Metroidvanias, they bring in like a central hub in between levels where you can do crafting. It's kind of like an NPC jump off where you can do side quests, things like that. Will this game have that?
We have like some center points for some of the worlds, but not in all, because at the end in all the world there's like a living NPCs and they are located at somewhere. Then they can help you to build something, and some of the stuff you can build your own.
With the weapons themselves, is there a way you can kind of tailor them to your playstyle, where you're kind of trying to pick how you want to approach combat?
For this, we had really nice idea. Some of the different weapons has their own unique skills and also their own like a play style. We have like a ton of them in the plan, and we start to integrate them. We already tried a few of them, and they are really aggressively good, but I think people will mostly select the sword style stuff, like a two swords, one swords, and katana, and this kind of things mostly.
What's kind of your inventory look like, right? So can you only pick like two weapons and go into combat? Kind of how does that work in the game?
On the level you can only select one of the weapons, like you don't have the second weapons. Only for some of them it's open, like there's like a double katana option, which is like you have like a one handicap and one long katana, which you can use as a combination. Also there is like a arrow, which you can also have sword, short sword and plus arrow in the same time, but it's mostly it's really complex to integrate them together, and we are still working on it.
The roadmap moving into 2022, kind of what does that look like for the game currently? Do you have a demo plan? Kind of what does that all look like?
We decided we will not do the demo.
Okay.
And we will only special access for the Kickstarter bakers. And right now we are working on the Kickstarter campaign. We already start to lay it out and everything. And end of like a September to October, we will going to start the Kickstarter campaign. After that, when we decide everything, we will structure fully, and then we will start to push in the marketing side for the Kickstarter.
Gotcha.
And that is Soul Passage. I had a great time talking about this game. Metroidvania meets RPG in space across crazy worlds. It's going to be a great title. There is no Steam page yet, however, all of their social media is down below. Make sure you check that out. Before you head off, why not like, why not comment, and why not subscribe? Until next time, however, I am Nick. It's been fun. And I'll see y'all next time.